he was posting all these fight videos, and then someone on Twitter at the time said, hey, you should fight Zuck. And I said, well, I'm willing to fight if he is. And Zuck posted, name the place or something to that effect. Italy actually was willing to let us use the Coliseum. So, and then Zuck pulled out. He was not being serious. And I said, look, listen, at the end of the day, I'll fight you any place, anywhere, under any rules. I don't think you should fight me.
Because you're so much bigger than him?
Yeah, I'm like 50% heavier than him.
Yeah.
I'll just use I've got my patented Walrus move. I just lie on him. Well, like Walrus doesn't need martial arts training.
Right.
Because it's really big. You don't want to go wrestling a Walrus.
How much have you trained personally?
For a decade.
Well, you did a lot of karate, right? Judo?
Judo, karate.
Yeah.
I did some jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, street fighting.
Zuck versus Elon Fire.
He's checking out. That's the...
I don't think he's checking out.
Yeah? No, he's checking out.
You think so?
Yeah. Fuck.
Maybe he's
Zuck. I'll go into fighting using taunts.
It might work.
Yeah.
It's time. Somehow or another, you got in the first place. I was stunned.
Surely he will respond to a taunt like that.
Yeah, surely. How can you resist? How can you resist? Yeah,
exactly. Let's go full schoolyard taunting.
What if there was like real consequences on the line? What if you got a real bet?
Okay.
The moderation team from X takes over moderation of Facebook.
No problem.
And if he wins, vice versa.
There's a fight for civilization.
Yeah, a literal fight for civilization.
I'll do it.
Wow, heavy.
He was posting all these fight videos, and then someone on Twitter at the time said, hey, you should fight Zuck. And I said, I'm willing to fight if he is. And then Zuck posted, I think on Instagram or something, name the place or something like that. And I was like, okay, how about the Vegas Octagon?
Where are you, man?
And then Italy actually just wanted to let us use the Coliseum. And I was like, can't turn that down. But then, if it's going to be in the Coliseum, we're not, I like UFC and everything, but we don't have like tons of ads and UFC branding on the Coliseum because it's a historical place. It's a place of great history. You don't want to just have it be all like NASCAR. So then Zuck pulled out. He was pulled out, I said.
He pulled out? He pulled out of it?
Yeah.
Oh, what was the narrative? What'd you hear, Jamie?
I've only been, so he was like, oh, it's gotta be UFC rules. I'm like, okay, we have UFC rules in the Coliseum, it's fine, but we gotta respect the historical integrity of the place.
The Coliseum just seems like the coolest place to do it.
Yeah.
That's why.
It's like a gladiator.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
And they said it's okay.
Yeah.
So he just wants it to be in the actual UFC in Vegas.
Yeah. So then he said, oh, he accused me of not being serious. And I said, look, listen,
fabrication.
at the end of the day, if I'll fight you any place, anywhere, under any rules.
Ooh.
Zuck. That's what I said. So he said name the place. I'm like, I'm happy to fight him in a house, on a mouse, with a louse. We're gonna go full Dr. Seuss here.
Now, how much time?
I'm a way bigger than him. This is unfair.
I know you.
I don't think you should fight me.
Because you're so much bigger than him?
Yeah, like 50% heavier than him.
Yeah.
I'll just use I've got my patented Walrus move. I just lie on him. Like the Walrus doesn't need martial arts training. Because it's really big. You don't want to go wrestling a Walrus. If a horse falls on you, you can get trapped under a horse.
Right, but you're not a horse.
Listen, there's just a reason they have weight categories. There's a friend of mine who is pretty good at fighting, but she weighs about half of what I do. And I said, let me show you why there's weight categories in fighting. And I'm going to do a move called the Walrus, and you have to I'm just going to lie on you. I'm not going to put you in a lock or anything. I'm just going to lie on you. But I'm going to position myself such that it's hard to get out from under me. And I'm going to lie crossways on you, and you try to get away, and you won't be able to get away. Just if a horse falls on you, you can get trapped under a horse.
Right, but you're not a horse. What do you weigh, about 230?
Yeah, 240.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a horse, but I'm saying in the limit, if something's heavy enough, if a horse falls on you and dies, you can get trapped under a horse and not be able to get yourself.
But if someone's good enough, I'm sure you've seen absolute weight classes in jiu-jitsu where you'll get a 145-pound competitor who strangles a 220-pound competitor, and they're both well-trained. It is
That's
good.
unlikely.
It's not unlikely. It happens quite often.
Okay.
When you get elite competitors, like elite black belts at the 145, 150 of these guys who will strangle much larger black belts.
I'm not saying it's impossible, it's just highly unlikely. And if this were not the case, there would not be strict weight categories in martial arts.
That is true, but
Very strict
the
weight categories.
reason why they allow absolutes in jiu-jitsu is because it is the thrill of watching these smaller people go against much larger people,
Yeah.
and sometimes they win.
No, I just like armies, where people take note when a small army defeats a big army because it is so unusual,
Yes,
not because it's normal.
right.
It's like, it was 2 against 10,000, and boy, do we beat those 2 guys up. more likely what happens. If you're severely outnumbered, you will lose, almost certainly.
So look at the size difference between these two guys. Play it out. This is Mikey Musumeci, who is another fascinating individual. This guy is another super genius who trains every day, 12 hours a day, and he is competing against a black belt in the heavyweight division. Mikey Musumeci might weigh 145 pounds, and he beats this guy.
Guy doesn't look to be in super great shape.
He's enormous.
Yeah.
He's enormous, and he's a black belt, so he's skilled. I forget how Mikey wins this. He catches him with some, so he won by points?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he won by points.
I think you're making the point for me here.
Yeah, in that case. But
Yeah.
that guy's strangled a lot of much larger people than him. But again, he's
Yeah.
extraordinary. He's a world champion. He's a world champion for ONE, which is this huge organization in Singapore. They do these events where they have all kinds of different martial arts. They have MMA, Thai boxing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you would do it under any rules.
sure.
All right, let's go. I like the fact that you're interested in doing this.
Anybody see Richie?
It makes it fun.
Yeah, I could. This could be.
Anybody know why
an
Richie's
exercise
in Bobby
in ethics.
Lupo?
Find out. We can find out. I like the fact that Zuck's interested in it too. I like the fact that he trains so much. Right.
Because it's gonna roll on you.
Have you ever rolled with someone who's much smaller than you that does jujitsu?
Yes.
Lex. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't
Yeah.
train as martial arts.
How much have you trained personally?
I did for a decade of it.
We did a lot of karate, right?
I did
Judo.
judo, Shotokan, karate.
Yeah.
I did some jujitsu, taekwondo, street fighting, which was involuntary. I think I'd be decent. The things that if I was fighting someone where I was not much bigger than them, then I would be more concerned.
How much time would you need to prepare?
I don't need any time.
No time at all?
No.
How's your cardio?
That will not be a factor.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the likelihood of this actually happening?
I'm willing to do it anytime, anywhere, any place, any rule.
I think stating it this way might accelerate this process,
Great.
especially on this platform.
I mean, I challenge him to a duel under any circumstances.
Sword fight?
Sure.
Jesus. That's not
Pistols at dawn.
That's it's just fun. Yeah, just for the fun of it.
Mr. Zuckerberg, let me start with you. Did I hear you say in your opening statement that there's no link between mental health and social media use?
Senator, what I said is I think it's important to look at the science. I know people widely talk about this as if that is something that's already been proven.
It's a total fabrication.
The bulk of the scientific evidence does not support that.
Well, really, let me just remind you of some of the science from your own company. Instagram studied the effect of your platform on teenagers. Let me just read you some quotes from the Wall Street Journal's report on this. Company researchers found that Instagram is harmful for a sizable percentage of teenagers, most notably teenage girls. Here's a quote from your own study. Quote, "We make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls." Here's another quote. "Teens blame Instagram," this is your study, "for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression. This reaction was unprompted and consistent across all groups." That's your study.
Senator, we try to understand the feedback and how people feel about the services. We can improve.
Wait a minute, your own study says that you make life worse for 1 in 3 teenage girls. You increase
Senator, that's not
anxiety
what it
and
says.
depression. That's what it says, and you're here testifying to us in public that there's no link. You've been doing this for years. For years, you've been coming in public and testifying under oath that there's absolutely no link. Your product is wonderful. The science is nascent, full speed ahead, while internally you know full well your product is a disaster for teenagers.
Senator,
And yet
that's
you
not
keep
true.
right on doing what you're doing. Right?
That's not true. That's not true.
You're wrong.
Let me show you some other facts that I know that you're familiar with. Wait a minute. That's not a question. That's not a question. Those are facts, Mr. Zuckerberg. That's not a question.
Those aren't facts.
Here, let me show you some more facts. Here's some information from a whistleblower who came before the Senate, testified under oath in public. He worked for you. He's a senior executive. Here's what he showed he found when he studied your products. So, for example, this is girls between the ages of 13 and 15 years old. 37% of them reported that they had been exposed to nudity on the platform unwanted.
What does it take to change the essence of a man?
In the last 7 days, 24% said that they had experienced unwanted sexual advances that had been propositioned in the last 7 days. 17% said they had encountered self-harm content pushed at them in the last 7 days.
Anybody know why Richie did Bobby Lupo?
Now, I know you're familiar with these stats because he sent you an email where he lined it all out. And we've got a copy of it right here. My question is, who did you fire for this? Who got fired because of that?
Senator, we study all of this because it's important and we want to improve our services.
Well, you just told me a
And I
second
think
ago you studied it. There was no linkage. Who did you fire?
Yeah, I said you mischaracterized.
37% of teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram. You knew about it. Who did you fire?
Senator, this is why we're building all.
Who did you fire?
That's.
Who did you fire?
I'm not going to answer that.
Because you didn't fire anybody, right? You didn't take any significant action.
It's appropriate to talk about like
It's not
individual
appropriate.
HR decisions.
Do you know who's sitting behind you? You've got families from across the nation whose children are either severely harmed or gone. And you don't think it's appropriate to talk about steps that you took? The fact that you didn't fire a single person? Let me ask you this. Have you compensated any of the victims?
Sorry?
Have you compensated any of the victims?
I want to ask you a bunch
These
of
girls, have
questions.
you compensated them?
I don't
I want to
believe
have them
so.
answered immediately.
Why not? Don't you think they deserve some compensation for what your platform has done?
What does it take to change the essence of a man?
Help with counseling services, help with dealing with the issues that your services cause?
Our job is to make sure that we build tools to help keep people safe.
Are you
across
going to
our platform.
compensate them?
Senator, our job,
No
and
way.
what we take
Not this
seriously,
time.
is making sure that we build industry-leading tools to find harmful
To make
content,
money.
take it off the services,
To make money.
and to build tools that empower parents.
So you didn't
Anybody
take
see
any
Richie?
action. You didn't take any action. You didn't fire anybody. You haven't compensated.
Anybody
a
know
single
why
victim.
Richie
Let me
did
ask
Bobby
you this.
Lupo?
Let me ask you this. There's families of victims here today. Have you apologized to the victims? Would you like to do so now? They're here. You're on national television. Would you like now to apologize to the victims who have been harmed by your product? Show them the pictures. Would you like to apologize for what you've done to these good people?
What does it take to change the essence of a man?
Industry-leading efforts to make sure that no one has to go through the types of things that your families
It's false. No way. Not this time. Pure fiction. It's false. It's a total
You know,
fabrication. We created
Why?
it. You're wrong.
Mr.
Not this
Zuckerberg,
time.
Why
It never
should your company not be sued for this? Why is it that you can claim, you hide behind a liability shield, you can't be held accountable? Shouldn't you be held accountable personally? Will you take personal responsibility?
Senator, I think I've already answered this. I mean, these
Well,
are
try
serious
this again.
issues.
Will you take personal responsibility?
You're
Senator,
wrong.
I view my
Not this
job
time.
and
It
the
never
job of our company is building the best tools
It's a total
that we can
fabrication.
to keep our community safe.
Well, you're failing at
and
that.
Well, Senator, we're doing
It's a
an
total
industry-leading
fabrication.
effort. We build AI
Oh,
tools
nonsense. Your product is killing people. Will you personally commit to compensating the victims? You're a billionaire. Will you commit to compensating the victims? Will you set up a compensation fund
Senator,
with your
I
money?
think these are
With your money.
Senator, these are complicated.
Yes, no,
issues.
that's not a complicated question, though. That's a
Senator,
yes or no.
this is-
Will you set up a victims' compensation fund with your money? The money you made on these families sitting behind you? Yes or no?
Senator, I don't think that's my job is to
Sounds
make
like
sure
a
we
no.
build good tools.
What does it take to change the essence of a man?
My
Sounds
job
like a
is
no.
to make sure that
Your job is to be responsible for what your company has done. You've made billions of dollars on the people sitting behind you here. You've done nothing to help them. You've done nothing to compensate them. You've done nothing to put it right. You could do so here today, and you should. You should, Mr. Zuckerberg.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lying to chalk. I really hate the trip, but I gotta low. As they croak, I see myself in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G the little homies wanna be like, on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light.
Depending on how well you want to do, particularly if you're starting a company, you need to work super hard. When my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch.
There are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight in the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
When critics say you can't do this, your answer to them is,
we've done it.
goodness, what a fight.
Yeah, that right there was a high-level knockout, ladies and gentlemen. Crowd absolutely loving it. Just a perfect shot to end the fight. Landed flush. I'm not even sure his opponent saw it coming. So a huge win. Whoa!
Holy smoke! Put him to sleep.
Back to the feet.
Serve him up. Go get him. Keep the service moving. Go finish this fight.
Encourage you to take risks now, to do something bold.
54 on the clock, talking consumer news, and the Supreme Court allowing a multi-billion-dollar class action lawsuit against Facebook's parent company, Meta, to go forward.
This comes after a privacy scandal involving Cambridge Analytica.
Yeah, investors say that Meta did not fully disclose the risks that Facebook's users' personal data could be misused by Cambridge Analytica back in 2018. Now, justices heard arguments this month in Meta's bid to shut down that lawsuit. The High Court dismissing an appeal, leaving it in the hands of lower courts.
Anybody see Richie? Anybody know why Richie did Bobby Lupo?
Don't forget to send me a copy.
Give me your hand.
Revenge is a dish best served cold. It's time to feast!
Dad?
Terminated.
What does it take to change the essence of a man?
It's false. No way. Not this time. Pure fiction. It's false. It's a total fabrication. We created it. You're wrong. Not this time. It never happened.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
Making black new.